Today on Community Cooking, we have Chef Samuel Sellona in the kitchen making an incredible meal. From Cornish game hen stuffed with roasted red bell peppers, served with a side of Palm Williams, to bitter green salad. You won't want to miss it. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. So grab a seat, relax, we've got another great show for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hello and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Kirk Leins, and in our kitchen today, we have Chef Samuel Sellona. Chef, how are you?
Doing really well.
Good. Now, you are the executive chef at Torrance Memorial Medical Center, correct?
Yes, I am.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's a community hospital, and we do about 2,000 to 3,000 meals a day. We feed physicians, nursing, patients as well, and we're quite busy.
Wow. So, I mean, I think people think of hospital food as not being, up to par. But let me tell you something. If you've got a DVR at home, I would suggest setting it because this man is the real deal. And he's going to show you some techniques today that are legit. And I'm excited. I have a feeling I'm going to walk away a better home cook. So we're going to start with our game hen. But before we go there, I know you want to talk about this olive oil, this roasted oil that you have here, because that's a part of what we're going to make.
Exactly.
So tell me about what we've got.
Well, this right here is infused garlic olive oil.
Okay.
And basically what it does, we put in a saute pan with the olive oil, and then we heat the oil up to about 300 degrees, and we roast the garlic until it's caramelized.
We've got these ingredients here, so we put a little thyme in there, some crushed red.
Exactly, yeah.
And we're just basically putting it in a pan and letting it get golden and brown.
Exactly, yes.
And then you've
That's
got
what we're doing.
delicious tasting olive oil and wonderful garlic confit.
Yes, yes.
Great.
And you don't want to pair too much ahead as well. You just want to make enough just for the meal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Because that doesn't necessarily hold so well,
It
correct?
does not hold well. It gets rancid after a day
right,
or so.
Right. Okay. So we've got our olive oil made. Now we've got our game hen. And you are going to show everyone how to debone it.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Sir, the stage is yours.
Very good. Okay. First off, Cornish game hen. I usually start off with under the wing. I do a little clip, and then it'll expose the joint.
The
and
joint
cut right through there. And then the bones will be saved into a pan for our au jus.
Yes, because we're going to be making an au jus as well. So those you're taking them off because they would burn in the roasting process most likely.
Plus, besides burning, it does not have that much flesh or meat on it.
Right, so why have it on the plate?
Exactly,
okay.
yeah. And then, again, with your thumb, you're going to feel where the joints are and press, and the joints will pop out. And then that will give you access to cutting. So just a slit down the back, and then you're going to be following with the tip of your knife, following the rib cage. And at the top of the shoulder, you're going to feel a little of, it's the collarbone, and it's going to be exposed. You can just kind of cut underneath that. And it's going to expose the bone, which you see right here.
Right.
And then you just keep on following until you reach the end towards the breast, and then keep cutting towards the back, and then you're going to find the joint that we just popped earlier. And then keep on cutting, and then what's going to happen is the thigh meat will fall off right off the hip bone, and it will separate just like that.
Beautiful.
And then we'll do the same on the other side. And I've fabricated hundreds of these, and each time I fabricate a bird or a hen, I just have different cuts. It's basically how your knife contacts the hen.
And also, too, like humans, they're all built a little bit different, right?
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of twisting, turning, and you're just looking for the right angles to get into the right cut.
So I think maybe a couple of takeaways. One is the sharper the knife, the better. And the other thing is that I notice you're not doing any big drastic cuts. Everything you're doing is very small and somewhat precise based on what you're feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just that's why we use the tip of the knife. Again, we're back to the rib cage, and we're just following it all the way to the top, and we're just doing short strokes, and then exposing the breastbone.
Amazing.
Yeah. Then we'll do it on the other side as well. Just cut, cut. And then usually when I get to this point, I'll just grab the rib cage and then slide the blade right underneath, and it just pops right out. And then this will go into our stock.
Nothing goes to waste.
Yeah.
That was masterful. Now the next step, you're going to show us how to actually stuff this and truss this, correct?
Okay. Actually, there's one more step.
Oh,
there's
okay.
one more bone that we're going to remove.
Thanks,
so
sir.
we're going to flip it right over again. And what I want to do is remove the thigh bone, which is right there.
Right, okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to, with the tip of the knife, we're going to follow the bone till we hit the joint again, and then cut around the top end. And then with your tip of your knife, you're just going to come underneath and removing the bone, and then we're just following it all the way down to joint. And then that comes off. This goes into our stock, and then we'll do the same on the other side.
Now, aside from making it much easier to eat, this also helps sort of with the roasting, allow it to roast more even and quicker, correct?
Yes, it cooks quicker, and then your guests or the person that you're preparing the meal for doesn't have to deal with eating through the bones.
Right.
So this is what we're looking for right here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Impressive.
So we're gonna go into the stuffing process.
Okay.
And what I usually do is I like to flavor the meat, and usually the skin will prevent the meat from getting any type of flavor. So I usually go underneath the skin.
You're using your finger to create a little pocket between the
exactly,
skin and the meat. Okay.
Yeah. There's some membranes that's holding the skin to the flesh. So you just want to cut through that, and then just kind of poke your hand in there, your fingers, and exposing the meat. And then I have some lemon zest.
Lemon zest, right.
And then I also have some thyme that I cut earlier.
And you could really substitute any herbs if you want. A little rosemary would be beautiful.
Exactly, yeah. And this is what I do. I just kind of do a quick rub in there, not too much. And then the excess can go into our stock as well. So, and then we'll flip it over. And I'm going to reach over and grab some salt and pepper. We're going to salt and pepper it.
Got to make it taste good, right?
Exactly. Some seasoning.
Are you finding that a lot of people, I think in general, just sort of under-season their food?
I think that's how things are now, because when you over-salt, the product, you can't use it anymore. So it's better to under-season.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we start off with some wilted spinach, which I sautéed earlier with the garlic oil.
Okay, so that's where the first place where we use our garlic oil is on the spinach.
Just about a teaspoon in the sauté pan.
Okay.
And you just want to cook it to where it's just slightly wilted. You don't want to overcook the spinach.
Right.
So
that is going to cook again.
It's going to cook again. And then we have some peppers, which I have here. I have some samples here that I did earlier so that you have a visual of what we're looking for. We want to, over open flame, roast your peppers until it's completely roasted like this.
And by open flame, you just do that on the stovetop, correct?
On the stovetop, or if you don't have a flame in your, you can take it out to the barbecue.
Barbecue works as well, right?
As well,
okay.
yeah. And what you want to do is, the second process is to remove the charred skin, because it does get bitter.
I love that you showed this, because I don't think when people roast peppers, they don't realize that you really have to burn it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want that color of a char so it tastes roasted. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, you're going to be able to remove the skin as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a long process taking the roasted skin off. So I usually do a quick rinse with water. Some chefs don't like to do it because it takes away the smokiness, but I rather have that than have something bitter in your food.
Understood. Understood.
Okay, so this is what we do right here, right in the center.
Okay.
And we got some goat cheese that we're gonna just set down right in the middle. This gets kind of sticky. You go, just a little,
This
just
is
a
going to
dab.
be insanely good.
And then we have some dates. I'm just going to put
Nice.
2 in there.
Pitted, of course.
Pitted, of course, yeah. So you got your sweetness, you got your savory from the cheese, the roasted pepper, and the spinach.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is fold it in, just like that.
Okay.
And then with your thumb, you're going to just flip it right over.
Okay.
Creating like a sachet, basically. And this is what you're going to have. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. I made one earlier, and I'm going to go through the trussing process right now.
Okay.
I'm going to reach down here and grab some foil.
You're going to get your hand towel
Oh,
too.
very good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, traditionally, you would use a butcher string or some kind of twine.
Right.
But what I find out during mass production of this, it's much easier to use a foil.
It's
And,
a lot, yeah, it's tedious work. I mean,
Exactly,
it's hard
the
enough
time.
to truss a chicken or a turkey, but then these little guys, and
Uh-huh.
then you've got to remove them.
Exactly,
And, yeah,
yeah.
I can see why that
So-
would be cumbersome in a kitchen.
And this works like a twist tie.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is have do about 1 inch thick. Gonna move this off to the side. And then we're going to get our infused garlic oil, and we're just going to just do that.
So it doesn't stick,
Doesn't
and
stick, right.
might as well give it flavor.
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome.
So it's all about flavor here. So, right. So when you get to this point, we're going to bring it over, and this is the trussing part.
Beautiful.
So what we're doing, I'm going to show it side angle. We're just going to squeeze until we get the form that we want.
So it comes up nice and high.
Exactly, and that's what we want on our plate when we're serving.
Right.
When we get to that point, we just do a twist tie, and
There it is.
this is what you get.
Great.
So I'm going to just pick it over. And
Okay. We'll get that in the oven in a little bit. Why don't you hand me that tray? I'll get that out of your way.
Okay, before it goes into the
Oh,
oven,
I'm sorry.
I just want to brush.
I keep rushing the mess. I don't know what I'm doing.
I just like to brush it with some oil again. So that way there's more flavor to
Yeah, that
the hen
is
as well.
flavor central right there.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
thank you very much.
Thank you, chef. Now you're going to show us how to deal with the au jus, correct?
Yes, yes. So I'm going to move this off to the side.
Here, let me get that
Okay.
for you too.
Okay. And then this.
All right.
Okay. So we have our bones from the hen, and we're going to do a basic mirepoix, which
Okay.
is celery, onions,
Okay.
and carrots.
For people who are unfamiliar, mirepoix is the French term for that combination right there.
Yeah, and it's usually 50% onions, 25 carrots, and 25 celery.
1 to 1 to 2. Okay.
Yes. And from here, it goes into the our oven,
Okay.
and we're going to roast it.
And how long will that take? Did that gets no stock or anything like that?
At the end, what we'll do is we'll deglaze the pan with the stock.
Got you.
yeah.
Okay, so this goes in and roasts for how long would you say?
Let's say about 30 to 40 minutes in the
what?
375,
375. And
yeah.
how about our birds?
around the same temperature as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we can kind of get them in the same time. And while this is resting, we finish this?
Yes.
Great. Let me show everyone that we have got some working already in terms of our mirepoix with the chicken bones. That's what our vegetables look like with our roasted bones. And let me close this up. And this is what our chickens look like, or our Cornish game hens, I should say. Let me get these guys in the oven. So that's what it looks like. You said for how long? About 30 to 40 minutes, something like that?
Yes.
And you take an internal temperature reading on the...
165
on the
for
birds.
at least 15 seconds. Then you
Right.
can remove it.
All right, well, we're going to get cleaned up here because when we come back, we're going to finish off the au jus as well as make our Palm Williams and our salad.
Yes.
So let's get cleaned up and we'll take a little break.
All right.
All right, don't go away. We will be right back.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, now, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just joining us, I'm in the kitchen today with Chef Samuel Sellona. You showed us a ton of technique, and just for review, we did everything from making infused olive oil to learn how to bone and truss a Cornish game hen, and started our au jus. We're going to finish that up, but before, you're going to show us how to make a really classic dish, something known as Palm Williams.
Yes.
Explain to us what that is.
Palm Williams is a croquette, basically, and it's a dish that was named after a chef that invented it back in the 1800s. And what a croquette is a combination of butter, egg yolks, nutmeg, some seasoning, and then it's shaped into a pear, coated with the breadcrumbs, and then deep fried.
Now, if you think he said pear, you'd be right, because he's going to make our potatoes look like pears. And if you don't believe me, just stick around. So, Chef, why don't you take it away? Show us what we're going to do.
Sure. I started off with some russet potatoes, which I had boiled to fork tender. And we'll start off by making sure it's strained. We don't want excess water, liquid in there.
Yes, nothing ruins the taste of like potatoes than excess water, right?
Yes. And then we're going to add some butter. So I'm just going to throw some butter in there.
And is that unsalted or salted?
Unsalted butter.
Okay.
And then we're going to add some of our seasoning, which is nutmeg. And you just want to add a touch. This spice is very
Pungent.
pungent, yes. And then just a touch of cream.
That's just heavy cream?
Heavy cream, yes. And then some salt and pepper.
Okay.
And then with a whip, you just want to
Mash it up.
Yeah.
Just like making mashed potatoes almost at this point.
Exactly, yeah. And then we're going to gradually add our egg yolks. And this is what's going to give it really rich flavor and creamy texture.
And bind it as well, correct?
It's a binder as well. And then during the cooking process, it also adds, besides the binding, more of a fuller and nicer color to the potato.
Right, sure.
So we'll add 1 yolk.
That's just the yolk?
Just the yolk.
Okay.
And then we'll just continue to work that in. Chef notes on this. Sometimes the potatoes might be on the watery end. And what I've found out through other chefs by watching them is that when you don't get the texture, what we're looking for as far as texture is a dough-like texture.
Something like this, correct?
Yes,
That's
yeah.
what you wind
Has to
up
be
with
doughy.
after this all comes together.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And then, and some of the secrets is some chefs will add a little bit of flour just to get that texture.
Bind it, okay.
A binder, yeah. I've also seen other chefs add some granulated or dehydrated potatoes.
Instant potatoes.
Yeah, instant potatoes to help it
that
bind
makes sense.
as well.
Yeah, you would never make mashed potatoes out of those.
Yeah.
But in terms of it's probably in flavor-wise closer to what you're looking for than like just adding flour.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this process is going to take a while because it takes a while to
I can
process.
get that
so
out of your
we're
way.
going to the next
We'll
step.
pretend we did that.
So this eventually what you'll do is end up with this product right here.
Okay.
Okay, and then as far as the shaping process, I usually have the bottom of the pear at the palm of my hand, and then just squeeze the top and then spin.
And you're using a really light hand there on top,
Yeah,
aren't you? I can
yeah.
tell, yeah.
Yep. And then just kind of work it into a pear shape, and then you get that.
Told you these were going to look
Yeah.
like pears.
So from this stage, what we'll do is we'll do the breading process.
Okay.
So, which is flour.
So a standard dredge.
Yeah, just a
Okay.
standard dredge. Very lightly.
Don't want to destroy that pear.
Yeah. And then that. Make sure that we maintain the shape. And then today's breading, I used a panko breading.
Which is
So-
just a Japanese breadcrumb,
Yeah.
and a much better product than I think standard
I
breadcrumbs.
think
don't
it
you think?
it browns well, better than the standard breaded crumbs, because it tends to be too dark, I think. With the panko, you get a nice golden
Light.
color. Yeah.
And you're from Hawaii, so
Yeah.
you had plenty of experience with panko breadcrumbs, I would imagine.
Yes, I grew up eating that,
Yeah.
using that.
And we're going to fry this now, correctly?
Yes.
What
so
kind of oil are you using?
I use the canola oil.
Okay.
It's really great for frying, and it holds the temperature really well. So from here, we just go into our fryer.
And how long is that going to take, roughly?
About 5 minutes.
But
should
you're probably really judging the color. That's what you're looking at, because
Mm-hmm.
everything in there is cooked.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of like getting the color that you want and heating it through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna toss it around and make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom, and it will start to gradually brown.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Do we want to get a second one in there, and then we can
Sure.
start on our au jus?
Sure.
We've got the bones and the mirepoix that went into the oven in that pan over there. And Chef, you added a little bit of stock to that, correct?
Yes, I had.
Just chicken stock?
Just chicken stock.
Okay, and that's
and-
something that at home someone could use, just even
Yeah.
store-bought chicken stock,
Yeah.
correct?
And the purpose of adding the chicken stock, besides adding more volume, is just to deglaze the pan.
You'll pull up all those lovely bits from the bottom
Exactly,
that
yeah.
have flavor.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, come on now. That looks looks so
So from this stage, I'll
so delicious.
reach over.
So delicious. Well, you're doing that. I'm going to start bringing some of our salad ingredients over
Sure.
because we've got a salad to make as well.
Okay. Basically, what we're doing right now is just finishing it by just sticking a sprig right in the
There
pear,
you go.
and that's what we get.
I promised them pears. You delivered pears.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Beautiful.
So right now we're at the stage where we had rendered the au jus, and now we're going to do a reduction.
Okay. Just reducing, giving it a little bit more body.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you've got that over a flame as well. And that's going to take a few minutes too, correct?
Yes.
All right, so while that's reducing, maybe you can talk to us about this salad that you brought with you.
This is arugula. Arugula has a lemony flavor, bitterness to it. This is our radicchio. It has, again, a bitter flavor to it.
Right.
Belgian endive.
Uh-huh.
And then we have some,
Some basil?
no, this is a pea.
Oh, it's pea shoots.
Pea shoots,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
see the tendrils. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
the leaves almost look like basil.
I actually added this, and I came across this when I was shopping for produce, and I thought this would be a nice touch.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can absolutely get all of this at the Torrance Farmers Market.
Yeah.
And yes, these are bitter greens, but
Bitter greens.
I mean, you have a very rich meal. I mean, you know, we've got the chicken that's stuffed and it's got cheese in it. We've got the potatoes that have been fried. So nothing to cut that richness like these bitter greens.
Yes, yeah.
Should-
So I'll offset it a little bit. So what I'll do is just take a little bit of the arugula, and then some of our radicchio. I just like to tear it up like this, just to make it look natural.
And for our dressing,
Yeah.
it's very simple. It's just
Very
olive
simple.
oil, balsamic vinegar, and a little bit of lemon and salt and pepper.
Yes, that's it.
Great.
Very
Well,
simple.
I tell you what, I'm going to let you assemble this salad and get that dressed. We're going to take a break, get cleaned up, and then we're going to taste this meal.
Sure, thank you.
All right, don't go away. We will be right back.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
no one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just...
Listen.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. I'm here with Chef Samuel Sellona, who has just prepared me a gorgeous plate of food that I am going to sample right now. And you can see how awesome this looks together. I'm actually going to turn the plate so I can cut into it. Talk really quickly. This au jus, you just reduced that down and then finished it with butter, right?
Yes, this is a classic French reduction and butter to give it a nice shine.
Oh, those potatoes.
This nutmeg will kind of pop out a little bit.
It does, and it's gorgeous.
Yes. And then as far as the hen, it has a nice combination of sweetness, savory, and a nice poultry flavor.
Oh my. Oh my. Chef, that's spectacular.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Promise me you come back and do this again.
Sure. Anytime.
And if you make this again, I'm not going to complain.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
It's
very
been
much.
wonderful. And thank you for joining us. Just goes to show you, we really are cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community. We'll see you next time. Great. Awesome.
Thank you.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.